So we had these flyers, and we're going through the neighborhoods, and I had been through these neighborhoods so much, and you face rejection after a while. How do you guys know rejection is a bummer? And Christians were so discouraging at the time. I remember one time, man, these people, it was in early 90s, and Billy Graham was coming to town to minister, and it was great. It was great. And they kept saying revival's coming to Portland. I remember this, revival's coming to Portland, revival's coming to Portland. I would go to the Christian bookstores. Haven't you heard? God's prophesied revival's coming to Portland. And I finally stopped them. I said, you know what? Stop. You don't need to pray for revival no more. I'm here. Revival has come to Portland. Yeah, they didn't buy it either. I remember walking through this apartment complex, and I handed this guy a flyer. Red-headed, white dude, in the middle of the ghetto. What on earth he's doing there, I had no idea. I was there because God called me to be a pastor there. I don't know what. I've never seen an Irish guy in the midst of the ghetto before. There he was. And handed him a flyer. And he took the flyer and he looked at me. And he crumbled it up right in my face. Threw it on the ground. He said, I don't need a stinking flyer from no church, period. And see, I was me, and I was doing things, and then Lisa had Sarah and Sasha in the strollers fixed up, so she was tagging along behind me about 20 feet. And my daughter Sarah didn't know any better and didn't see what happened. So she walks up to this guy and she says, hey, pushed the flyer at him. Says, you need to come to my church. And he took the flyer and he looked at it. A few days later, I get a phone call. Say, my name's Dave. And I was the guy that crumbled up the flyer. Told you I didn't need to come to your church. I said, but your little girl pushed this flyer at me and said I had to come to your church. And he said, ever since then I've been so convicted. His mom and dad were missionaries into China. Retired. Gave their lives for the gospel. This man has seen God. And he was backslidden. And he said, I'm so convicted. Where do you live? So I live in northeast Portland off Killingsworth. He's way out where I was before. And he said, I have to come see you. I have to tithe. I said, what? He goes, I'm so convicted ever since your daughter gave me the flyer. I got to get right with God, and I need to tithe. I said, okay. 4911. Northeast Killingsworth. Come on down. He came down that day. Gave his heart to the Lord. Back to the Lord. From that day, I'm serious, guys, started giving. Started coming to my church. And helped build the church that he once said I want nothing to do. When you're doing what we're doing, you're building a local church, I want to tell you what, it's either God or it's nothing. I had a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, he lives in Jervis now. And he had seen one of my flyers for this new church. And so he said, I think I need to go check this place out and see what's up in Dodge. He comes out, And he shows up for the first service and nobody's there. And he looks and he waits. It starts at 11. He waited 11:15, 11:30, 11:45. He went home to his wife and he said, man, I went to that place. This guy gave me a flyer. He said, they didn't even make it on their first service. How sad is that? And his wife said, yeah, how sad is that? Today's Saturday, John. His name was John Satterfield, and he came a few weeks later. Came in, this guy, when you first saw him, earrings in his hair, big old one, looked like ZZ Top. I mean, this guy was a faith man. He received some nuggets of wisdom from Kenneth Copeland that pulled him out of multiple sclerosis, the point of death. And he came into that church, man, and just said, what do you want to do? And I tell you, it takes a miracle, and those miracles are happening today. I want to tell you what's so beautiful about a local church is when you realize that it's made up of miracles. When you realize that it's made up of treasures out of darkness. When you realize, when you get to know the people that are in the local church, I want to tell you something. You start having a greater appreciation for it. See, when you learn in a local church, this is why the local church is important. I thank God for the Church Universal, which we're all a part of. And as a matter of fact, I have a problem with many local churches. They don't know each other. Local churches are so self-absorbed, many of them don't even know each other. I went to Victory Outreach the other Sunday. Why? Because I wanted to meet with one of the pastors there to begin to develop relationship there with them there. Why? I'll tell you why. Because we need each other as local churches. None of us are entities unto ourselves. Are you hearing what I'm saying here? I've developed a relationship with the Filipino pastor of the church that meets here on Sunday mornings. Why? I'll tell you why. Because that man's a man of God. He's young. He may be pastoring his first church, but the brother can speak in 2 languages and is able to keep a church of white people and Filipinos in harmony together. I'm going to tell you what, that's a miracle of God.